Homeschooling is breaking out and it's on the move. It's re-emerging all over the world. Homeschooled children do better in terms of academic achievement.
One of the experts says parents need to think of home-based education this way, as a blessing, not a curse.
In a homeschool setting, you get to do what school teachers only dream of getting to do.
NERI has been the leading voice in fact-based, statistic-based, research-based information on homeschooling for 30 years in the United States and all over the world.
The homeschooling movement has state organizations, legal support, conferences, publishers, and speakers. We also have our research arm, which is faithfully manned by Dr. Brian Ray and NERI. God raised up Brian to represent home education in many venues. He gives credibility to our cause.
NERI stands for the National Home Education Research Institute, and we founded it in 1990, some other men and I, when we saw that there was a need. So we decided there needed to be a think tank that would do basic data gathering research, be a clearinghouse of research, everybody's research, anybody who does research on homeschooling, and a place to disseminate the studies and the findings to the general public, to legislators, to policymakers, to scholars, to homeschool families, and everybody. So we started it. NERI does that, it's been doing that. It's been meeting that mission for over 30 years now. It was about 30 years ago that Mike Ferris, an attorney, one of the founders of Homeschool Legal Defense Association, said that homeschool families need two things. They need to have strong relationships with their legislators in their state. And number two, homeschool families and the homeschool movement need solid, dependable, credible research. That is where NERI came in.
NERI and its researchers have been one of the most important, if not the most important, and potent elements in courts and with legislators. It's been said that those that have the data control the policy. And that's so very true when it comes to legal matters. The homeschooling community would have been handicapped without NERI and the information, the raw data that they provide for courts and legislators.
The research has been foundational to influencing public opinion, influencing policymakers, influencing the courts, and influencing families in a positive way for over 30 years now. When a decision is made in any particular state, it's not only for that state, but it will influence what judges, policymakers, and other people think in other states, because they do look around. Those court cases are also used by attorneys when they make their arguments in court before courts in other states. So these are always extremely important.
As a legislator, when we are talking about things regarding education, a lot of times a lot of the legislators aren't really informed about what homeschooling is. And so the resources that are provided by NERI are very instrumental in helping to educate those legislators that might not know anything about homeschooling or might have a false negative opinion, by providing those true facts through those free resources that NERI offers.
Homeschooling has allowed us to really establish a moral foundation for our children. And I think that is the greatest benefit to homeschooling, particularly for the African American community.
In public schools, government schools, black children do poorly on average on standardized academic achievement tests. In this study, we found out that these black children who are homeschooled are outperforming by far in reading, writing, and mathematics black public school students, and they're doing as well or better than those who are white students in the public schools. That was a very important study.
I think NERI is an organization that is definitely needed. One, for the research. Two, for the resources. For African American families, the research has helped solidify the decision to homeschool.
The work of NERI helps people understand the philosophy of education, and it helps them understand the evidence-based facts about what is best for children in terms of teaching and learning. NERI and its work is respected all across the United States and in other nations all over the world. If you go to Google Scholar and search homeschool research, you will see that the citations are heavily, disproportionately NERI and or the researchers who work at NERI. We also have a lot of the research that NERI does in one of the largest educational research database in the world, ERIC. You're going to see NERI and the research that we do pop up there all over the place. So that's one of the main reasons that NERI is known, is that it provides evidence-based information about homeschooling. Ever since I was a child, I loved gathering information. I studied animals, my bachelor's in biology, a master's in zoology, and then a doctorate in science education. So I like to look at information, pull it together, and come up with some kind of synthesis. I believe and I know that every single researcher has values, beliefs, and worldview that drives the research. It drives the questions they ask, it drives how they collect data, and it drives how they summarize data and present the conclusions. NERI has a classical, liberal, freedom-loving worldview, and it has a biblical worldview. And all of those things are a part of how research is done. One of our big visions for NERI is to remain into the long-term future the go-to place for statistics, research, and analysis on homeschooling from both a freedom-loving and a biblical perspective. And we need more and more people who are strong supporters of that, financially and in prayer.
As a homeschool father and as a friend, I have supported NERI for many years. I see this ministry as an investment in the future of home education.
Your groundbreaking research has been instrumental in helping parents make the best educational choices for their children. Without your energy and passion to explore the field of homeschooling, millions of children throughout the United States and world would have missed out.
I encourage people to support the organization and do whatever they can, use those resources that are freely available to help protect our fundamental rights.
It's very simple to give to NERI. Go to NHERI.org and you click the donate button and you can do it. NERI and I are full of gratitude for the people who support us financially and spiritually with prayer. It is the donations from homeschool organizations and individuals that keeps NERI going and is going to launch it into the long-term future.